The panel today is going to have amazing founders from the Endeavor Network sharing a little bit of their stories, their wins, their struggles, and successes of the past few years. And so, very excited to bring them onto stage so we can start this conversation. So, to start, I would like to welcome to the stage Seth Cassell, co founder and co president of Every Mundo and an Endeavor entrepreneur.
Hi
Hey, Seth.
guys, thank you so much. How are you?
Good to see you. Thank you for being here. All
Thank you
right.
guys.
Next up, I would like to welcome Francisco Cornejo, co founder and CEO at Storybook, who was part of our Scale Up program. Hey,
Hola,
Fran.
Rebecca. Hi, everyone. Hey, Seth.
Hey, how are you?
And last but not least, I would like to welcome Daniela Sichel, co founder and CEO at Opción to the stage, who was part of our Endeavor Lab program.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity to keep scaling the effect of Endeavor for everyone.
Awesome. Well, thank you for the three of you for being here. I'm super excited to chat with you today. Before we begin, I would like to go through a quick activity dynamic so that everyone can get to know you. So if you don't mind going around the room and introducing yourselves and giving us a little bit of an overview of your company and perhaps how you got involved with Endeavor. So, Seth, why don't we start with you?
Sure. Hi guys, Seth Cassell, co-founder, co-president of Every Mundo. My partner and I came together in 2010. And by about 2013, we started providing software to airlines to help them sell more flights directly from their own website. That journey was heavily influenced by Endeavor. I think it was 2014, we went through the process of, as a candidate to join Endeavor as an Endeavor entrepreneur, during which time a lot of valuable advice and support was given to us that ultimately set us on the course we chose. And today we're a company of about 170 people in many, many countries around the world, working with over 100 airlines worldwide.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Francisco, what about you?
So I'm the co-founder of Storybook. It's a family well-being and sleep app. In short, we have over 2 million downloads worldwide. We have subscribers in over 90 countries. And Endeavor and I go a long way. I started from attending the Endeavor programs back in Ecuador. Then I moved to Miami and joined the Scale Up, which was amazing. It was a pivotal moment for our company. Since we moved to Miami, that was the first place we arrived and where we got to meet a lot of people, and we really plugged into the ecosystem. So I owe a lot to Endeavor. I'm really happy to be here.
Thank you. And Daniela, what about you?
So I'm Daniela Sichel. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Opción. Our mission is to give access to everyone to personalized well-being and mental health services. We started before the pandemic and we started growing, and thanks to being part of the Endeavor Lab, we were able to connect with great entrepreneurs, and now one of them is the new owner of Opción and our new investor. So thanks to Endeavor, we are where we are, and it's the network that you gave us and that you keep giving us. It's amazing. I always say that Endeavor is the bridge, and I would like for everyone that is hearing, to empower them to cross that bridge despite your fears, because you give us a lot of access with great entrepreneurs that have a lot of know-how for us to do and to scale our businesses, and really that power of that network is priceless.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys all for sharing. Let's get right into the meteor questions. These have been very eventful years for all of you. You guys mentioned some of these things in your introduction. I would love for us to go around and for you to highlight a little bit more of these wins that you've had. So Daniela, you started us off. You wrapped us up, but you mentioned that a little bit. Why don't you tell us a little bit more of what happened in 2022 for Opción?
So 2022 was a very rough year, very difficult. Everything changed, how we keep having clients and the cost of acquisition of the clients changed. We were trying to raise money, and and the round was very hard to close it. And thanks to the meetings that I had and how many doors I knocked, and I was able to start a very close relationship with Abby Mandelbaum, who is now part of our team. And it was really about trust, about alignment with our mission, about working in the relationship and being vulnerable, and calling and asking for how to do this and how to do that, that we were able to build a relationship of trust that finish in what we are right now, that we are together, we're working together and making Opción Yo scale every day with a much better value proposition for our clients. And it was about the trust of our mission to really be focused, and that we're doing something that the world needs in a great way, and to be persistent, and to trust that despite the difficulties, you're going to be able to achieve it.
And how do you think this moment will be changing the course of Opción Yo in 2023?
It will change it completely. We are giving a service that is completely different of the service that we were giving before. We were the bridge between the client and the therapist. Nowadays, we have a completely new way of giving the service. We are giving personalized service. We are completely far from the internet experience where people go into a website and only buy something without having a personalized service. Now we do our service online, but it's as you were going inside of a clinic and someone is there to give you exactly the service that you need at the moment that you need it, and not only on an online thing. So yes, we have changed a lot, and we are doing things in a very different way, and we're very sure that our clients are very happy with our new way of giving the service. And we are working very hard to give access to all the Hispanic to have therapy sessions with a great pricing, and to make therapy part of the routine, their wellness routine, and not only to be able to have one session per year because the economical barrier is so high.
Seth, this reminds me a lot of the journey with Everymundo, in the sense that you guys also had a very eventful end of 2021, early 2022, a big outcome right after years of building an incredible company with Everymundo. Tell us a little bit more about what happened. What's the stage that Everymundo is in today? What do you expect to see as a consequence of all of that now in 2023?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the quick prelude to 2022 is that, of course, we were a company providing technology to airlines, and then COVID happened, and so that certainly took us on an unexpected journey. But without getting into the details of that journey proved fruitful in the end. It strengthened us. It helped us demonstrate the value of what we offer to the market. And then, I guess the long story short there is that at the end of 2021, we were acquired by a larger company in our space, generally speaking, like in the airline commercial technology world, a company called Pros, based in Houston. And that happened end of November 2021. So 2022 was our first year as a subsidiary of this parent company. And so it was an exciting transitional year. It was us doing some work to integrate into that company, collaborating closely with them as essentially a trusted partner, going to market together, exploring ways that some of Everymundo's knowledge and capabilities could help Pros and vice versa, of course, the parent company giving value and tools to us. Positioning for just a bigger, brighter future for Every Mundo as an entity, and then for Every Mundo as part of something much bigger. And so this is something that's still happening now. I mean, it's not, clearly what I guess the clearest lesson I've learned from it is that the acquisition was not the end of a story, but rather just the turning of a page to a new chapter. And in many ways, I see future in front of us as Every Mundo maybe bigger and longer, and our ambitions are greater than when we were a standalone entity.
I was about to ask you that. What excites you the most about this new chapter, post acquisition?
Yeah, I think as we get through some of the just initial getting to know you period, and starting to really collaborate more strategically and become a part of it, it's certainly enabling me and Anton, my co-founder, and our leadership team to just have a bigger platform to do more things. Right, we're part of something much bigger, and at times that becomes a very, very valuable tool for us to go out and just achieve bigger things in the market. I mean, there's a lot of interesting transformative activity going on in the airline technology space. The easiest way to explain it is, everyone's familiar with how simple and straightforward e-commerce is in most industries, but in the airline industry, it's a very weird thing, right? You buy a flight, it comes with the record locator, that little tag, but if you bought something else from the airline, it's not part of the same package that you just bought. Meanwhile, if you buy 72 different things on Amazon, it's just one order, right? Why do you have to check in before you go to your flight? You don't check in to go to a concert or, I don't know, to the movies. Like why can't you just show up and get on the plane? There's a lot of reasons why. And so that's just one example where Every Mundo as a standalone company would never be attempting to participate in solving the industry's problems in that area. As part of Pros, together we get to go and do that. And so it's just giving us more to do in an exciting way, just more professional ambition, which means we get to grow, I think, a more formidable company.
This is great stuff. And Francisco, I would love to. This reminds me of how the moment that I think Storybook is in, the Miami moment, right? You had a little bit of a different story where you landed in Miami, like you mentioned, no proper network or community or knowing people, and then Storybook blew up, right? And you've had different moments of that awareness that now the ecosystem has of you and of the company. Tell us more how that was and this momentum that you think the company is in right now.
Yeah, of course. I just hope my sound is okay because my neighbor just decided to do the lawn. So, but let's
You're
see how.
okay.
And I love to be hearing from you, Seth, because you were part of our talks back in the Scale Up program.
I remember.
Yeah, and you gave such a great advice, and we really took it. When we arrived to Miami and did Endeavor, we were going through a rough patch, I'd say. Our growth was doing great, but we weren't getting anywhere in our round. We were trying to raise, things were getting complicated. We weren't getting funding. So we took a lot of what you talked about, rough patches and preparing for the worst, and looking to your accounting weekly and even daily if it's needed, looking into credit. So we really took that. And I'm talking about the multiplier effect here. And that's how we started 2022. And from there, everything went upwards and to the right. Like we really had a fantastic 2022. Of course, Endeavor has been such a great part of that. We had an amazing Miami Tech Month. Like the whole month was really great for us. Emerge Americas was a fantastic event. We managed to get investment from Google on that same event. We were the first company that they picked for the Latino Founders Fund. We were featured by Apple. We got invited to the thanks. We got invited to their headquarters in Cupertino, which was an amazing experience to be 2 meters away from Tim Cook doing the live presentation. That was amazing. And we met so many great people, and now we're working with some of them, even hired some of them to the team. So it's been a fantastic year for us. the last quarter we had a 300% growth over last year's quarter. So like Q4, I mean, so growth is only getting better. But yeah, it's a path. Sometimes there are rough patches, but you always turn up stronger at the other side. And it's been a fantastic 2022. I can only say great things. Like this has been a really, really great year.
And on what you just said, that there are of Seth, you want to say something?
I was just going to say, I mean, Francisco brought back the concept of the multiplier effect, and it's very real. I mean, I on a personal level, I feel like I've experienced it on all sides, where to put it very directly, it was an Endeavor advisor during our preparation to join Endeavor, right? We weren't even part of Endeavor yet, who said, you got to focus on airlines and you got to focus on software, right? It was Danny Heisey. And that set us on such, I mean, so obviously was influential to our course when you look at who we are today. And then, of course, the advisory board that was provided to us, especially considering, you know, this was happening around 2014, 2015, and Miami today looks so different than what it did then. And so the ability to get good advice, good, honest, altruistic advice from people with a lot of experience that you wouldn't necessarily at the time have found homegrown was huge, right? Endeavor's ability to tease talent and advisors out of the woodwork was fantastic. And now for me on the other side, to some degree, right, being able to come and speak at the Scale Up program, I mean, yeah, sure, it's an opportunity for me to give back and to participate in those coming up in the program, but also very selfishly, it's incredibly valuable to sit down and really, be pushed to articulate what your experience was like and what worked, because the journey doesn't stop. And to reflect on my own experiences and to be challenged by an audience on those experiences is valuable for me, even going forward. I think I've drawn as much or more from peers who aren't necessarily the same size of us, but just other founders. Sometimes sharing their stories, sometimes, asking me mine. That proves to be just as valuable sometimes or more than even some seasoned, executive advisor who might not just be as close to the ground, as we are on these things. And COVID was, to me, the best example of that. I always thought it was so funny when all these big name kind of superstar executives during COVID were out there talking about managing during crisis, right? And I'm thinking to myself, with all due respect, what do you know about managing through a once in 100-year pandemic?
If you're not doing it.
Yeah, like what do you know about managing through a time when the entire world stopped moving for a couple of months? That's insane. That doesn't happen. There's no experience, right? And so in a weird way, huddling with people at the same situation, with the same challenges, is frankly just more valuable and incredibly valuable. And then, going forward, it also has opened my eyes to potential, later stage career possibilities around being an advisor, being a non-executive contributor to companies and things like that. And I don't know, it's just, again, it is a very real thing. It's what happens very naturally, I think, in mature markets and ecosystems, but it just happens on steroids as a result of Endeavor just kind of pushing it along in the right ways.
Seth, I want to add of what you're saying, that to realize that every meeting has something important that we can learn from, and that you don't know which meeting is gonna make you pivot your business in a way, as Francisco said, that you were able to stay alive because what you heard from Seth. So to put yourself out there, to hear, to ask questions, even though they may sound that you're not smart enough, but we're not smart enough. It's an ongoing process, and everyone is trying to make a new company, something that it doesn't exist. So I really believe that this ecosystem really make you be able to do that without feeling judged, and empower yourself to learn from everyone. That's so powerful.
And that's something we talk a lot about, right? Like the idea that a lot of founders are building heads down, and two things: sometimes they don't know what they most times they don't know what they don't know, and the other part is understanding that there's a lot of value of learning from others that have gone through this journey before you, right? Like they can imagine the challenges and hurdles that you're going to have that you can't see for yourself just yet, right? So I wanted to hear from you guys, like in the spirit, right, of like the give back, like we just heard from Seth and Francisco. Like what does community mean to you? Like how do you think it played a role in the growth of you as an entrepreneur, and then as a consequence in the journey that your companies have had? Whoever wants to answer.
I have a fresh example in my mind that describes this community feeling. And again, I moved to Miami a year and a half ago without any friends, without connections, and Endeavor became that family for us. Something that the Scale Up program and Rebecca, you did extremely well, is you managed to get us to really bond with each other, with our cohort participants. So all of our 8 startups from Scale Up Cohort 4 really got to be great friends. We met outside of the Endeavor hours, and we keep an amazing relationship. So for me, community, that's a great example. Like now I have 8 other people I can count on that they check on me from time to time. I check on them from time to time. We are cheering each other wins. We are helping each other during their bad moments. One of them invested in our company. Another one of them got us a B2B deal. I introduced to an investor to another. So it's being there for each other, but also helping to grow our businesses. So what Endeavor did specifically for our cohort, that's a perfect example of community for me.
That's the multiplier effect right there. Is yeah, I love these stories when they come out. People sometimes ask me like, what happens at Endeavor? I'm like, well, people meet and then they meet and then magic happens. Like so anyway, Seth, I think you wanted to say something.
Sure. So, I mean, for me, it was a different experience. I'm born and raised here. And so for me, it had nothing to do with kind of a social community. It had nothing to do kind of with a support network in a personal way, right? That was always kind of compartmentalized for me through, family and people I've known literally my entire life who are still here. But for me, I think it was really two things. Number one, it was, I think, it was a motivator because it demonstrated, put front and center for me that it can be done here and it can be done very successfully here, right? Coming through Endeavor, there were always companies bigger than us doing very fascinating things that I always held in high regard, that I used to drive and motivate us and to say, you know what, we're in the right place. No excuses. This is where we can build the company we want to build, and there's nothing holding back our ambition. And particularly because when we first started this, in 2010, 2011, 2012, there was a little bit more of a phenomenon of people who felt like they needed to grow tech companies, needed to go move to Silicon Valley or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. Which again, we never entertained that idea. I knew I was stuck here. I was never going anywhere, but still, it eliminated the notion. It gave us confidence that we can do it, but it also drove us to do it in an interesting way, just to see those peers kind of all coming together. And what I loved about it is there was no sense, never any sense of competitiveness or distrust or anything like that, which was great, right? Everybody wanted everyone else to, and still does, I think, wants everyone else to be successful, which I can't say the same when I've observed certain other, more mature entrepreneurial ecosystems where for some reason there's this feeling a little bit of like a zero-sum situation. Here not.
I want to add to that, Seth, that the win of every company and endeavor makes you feel that it's your own win, that you can be the next one with that news about your own company. And it's about the scaling effect and about you winning. I'm gonna also grow because of you, and not about competition. And I think that's so important, that you can really trust the advice that someone is giving you, because it comes from a place that they want you to succeed, and that's not easy to find.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that, of like the WhatsApp chats that we all have, and then every morning there's something going on in the news about somebody, and it's always such a group celebration, right? Of like one person's win is everybody's win, um,
Mhm.
and I think that sentiment absolutely carries throughout in all of the stuff that we do. As we get close to the end of our conversation, um, you guys are here because you have had great wins in 2021, 2022, as you come into 2023. But we know, right? Like, I've worked with the three of you. We know that these things have a lot of struggle, right? Like, it's not easy. Like, people might see you guys here and they might forget that the journey of an entrepreneur is not easy. It's very difficult. There are hurdles. There are, I was like no end streets, like no end, like no opening. Like you hit it, you have to come back and try something different. Um, and what would you say to those founders watching right now that might be in a position, in a moment where they don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, or they're facing a very big difficulty in the journey of their company? What would you tell them of how they can overcome that, and how a community can help them, or how you even overcame your own struggles as they come into 2023? Whoever wants to end.
I can go first, I guess. I guess I would say it's the journey, not the destination. Um, you have to, as hard as it feels at times, you need to appreciate that you're learning from that. You're becoming stronger from that. It's what you've signed up for. It may not work out. Every Mundo was not my first thing, just to be clear. But I look back and I remember the heartache and devastation I felt when previous things didn't go as planned. But if you consider every Mundo to be a success, I absolutely have drawn from those experiences in huge ways to do what I did today. And then the other thing I would say is you have to remember that while your company or your business, your effort, it's inevitably part of your identity as a person. It's not your whole identity, and that can change, right? As it very few people, I think, just do that one thing that their whole life, that one job. And so you have to have a long view sometimes and realize that what may feel like the story may just be a chapter.
Mhm.
You can drop the mic there. That was a fantastic advice.
No, I want to hear from you too. I want to hear, please. I love this.
I want to say that it's important to always remember that your mission is greater than your fears, that your mission is greater than this rough time when you feel that you're not going to be able to achieve it. And if you really believe that that mission needs to, the problem needs to be solved, and you can be that person that makes this world a better place and make this impact, to keep that motivation, it's very important. And to make a call to an entrepreneur that that have a story, that also had struggles, because everyone went through troubles to have a great exit. That's the moment that you need to do the call to empower yourself and be persistent and continue working despite the struggles that you're going through, because there are moments that the easy way out is to close the company. And when you look back, you say, thank God that this conversation gave me the opportunity of waking up the next day and doing that. As Seth said, it's only gonna be a chapter. It's not gonna be what defines us as a company or as a human beings. We're gonna have more than one opportunity to make this better.
And I want to double down on what you just said, Daniela. And when you're doing this with a true heart, when your mission is really what you feel is your purpose, all these challenges will lead you to a better place. So if you're following your purpose, you are learning from this. And if this is not the journey you were supposed to be in, you will get to that place as you keep walking. So I truly believe that following your purpose makes things not easy, but so much more fruitful. And also on the same thought, for me, the best advice I've gotten over the last few years of doing this, it's reach out to people who already experienced this, learn from other people's mistakes, learn from people who have done this quite a few times. And most of the times we're stubborn and we try to do the things our own way. And why would you do that if you can piggyback on somebody else's experience? So that's been really powerful for me. I can only speak about the growth and this level of success that we've had. It has all to do with advice from people we met along the way, or for the team keeping our ears open to other experiences and showing up on webinars, showing up on events, joining programs like Endeavor. That really helps you to get a perspective and to avoid avoidable mistakes.
And Francisco, I want to add to the reaching out. Keep reaching until you find an entrepreneur that has your same mission, that it's aligned with your mission. And I really believe that when you find that person and you get to that perfect fit, that person is going to become part of your company, and that person is going to become part of the scaling effect. And that's what happened with Opción Yo. I really touch a lot of, I reached to a lot of people, and every advice and every conversation made me grow as a human being, as a CEO for Opción Yo. But when I found the perfect fit, it was like, wow. So it could keep growing, the conversation. It never stopped. And now he's part of Opción Yo, and we're learning from a great person with a great background, and the effect is amazing. This month we grow 100%, and today is the 12th. So we are getting to a much higher place that Abby thought. So the effect is amazing.
And to those that don't know, Abby's also an Endeavor entrepreneur. So fellow peer with Seth, who also had his exit, is a mentor now, a board member of Endeavor Miami. So the story keeps going back. But all this to say then that it's for those watching, keep reaching your hands, because there are people there to support you. Anything before we wrap up? Good. Just want to thank you, the three of you, for being here. It's always lovely seeing you and hearing your stories and sharing all of your learnings with our community. For those watching, I hope that you were inspired and motivated by what Seth, Daniela, and Francisco had to say. And we hope to see you all very soon. Thank you guys for joining.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.